and I found him lying dead in the yew alley, face downward.
What did you do then?
I hurried across the moor to fetch the doctor, Dr. Mortimer. He was at dinner with Miss Stapleton and her brother.
Very well, Barrowman. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Mortimer, to what do you attribute the death of Sir Charles?
Heart failure, sir. I might add that for some time Sir Charles was in a highly nervous state. Worried. Something was preying on his mind.
And did he confide to you what was preying on his mind?
Well, no.
Well, then what about those footprints, Mortimer? As though Sir Charles had been tiptoeing back towards the house. I examined them myself, and as a man of science,
So did I, Mr. Stapleton. More likely Sir Charles was running.
Running? Running from what?
If you please, gentlemen, one at a time.
Why don't you tell the truth, all of you? Tell all you know.
Silence, Mr. Franklin. You've already testified you were not there and know nothing whatever of this matter.
Nevertheless, I insist he was murdered. Murdered, I tell you.
That will do, sir, that will do. There were no marks on the body of any kind, Dr. Mortimer?
None.
Then, as his physician, what would you say was the cause of Sir Charles's death?
Most emphatically a heart failure, sir.
Such, then, gentlemen, is the verdict of this coroner's court.
Call it what you like. Sir Charles was murdered. There's more than one person in this room knows I speak the truth.
I'm blessed if I know why on earth you want all these clippings about this Baskerville fellow.
I've an idea, Watson, that young Sir Henry isn't destined for a very long existence in this world.
What?
My conjecture is that he'll be murdered.
Murdered?
It'll be very interesting to see if my deductions are accurate.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, while you were out, a gentleman called to see you and left this.
He asked you to give it to me?
Oh, no, sir. He just left it by mistake, I imagine.
Uh-huh. Dr. Mortimer?
He didn't leave his name, sir.
No, it's here on the stick, Mrs. Hudson.
Oh, is it? I didn't notice.
Do you know any Dr. Mortimer, Watson?
Well, what did he want?
He didn't say, sir.
What do you make of it, Watson?
Why should I make anything of it? The fellow came to see you.
Ah, but what kind of a fellow? Let me hear you reconstruct him from his walking stick by our usual method of elementary observation.
Well, I should say that Dr. Mortimer is a successful man, well esteemed.
Good. Excellent.
I should say that he does a great deal of his visiting on foot, because the iron ferrule is worn down.
Perfectly sound.
Let's have a look at this inscription. From his friends of the CCH. CCH. I should say that's the something or other hunt.
Really, Watson, you've excelled yourself.
Does anything escape me?
Almost everything, my dear fellow.
Huh?
A present to a doctor, I'd say, is more likely to come from a hospital than a hunt. And when the letters CC are placed before the hospital, the name Charing Cross Hospital rather obviously presents itself.
Oh, you may be right.
Furthermore, I'd say that Dr. Mortimer had a small practice in the country and was the owner of a dog.
How can you tell that?
Quite simple. From the teeth marks. Look, you can see for yourself. A rather large dog, I'd say. And unless I'm mistaken, Dr. Mortimer will call on us again in a few moments.
Rubbish, Holmes. Rubbish. How the devil can you deduce that?
Well, as he left his stick, isn't it reasonable to presume that he'll come back and get it?
Dr. Mortimer, sir.
Mr. Holmes,
Yes. Come in, Dr. Mortimer.
I took the liberty of calling upon
And
you.
left your stick.
Oh, so I did. Thank you so much.
A presentation, I see.
Yes, sir, from Charing Cross Hospital.
This is my friend, Dr. Watson.
Of course.
How do you do, sir?
Mr. Holmes, you're the one man in all England who can help me.
Well, won't you sit down?
Thank you. A friend of mine is in grave danger.
May I inquire his name?
Sir Henry Baskerville, heir to the estate of Baskerville Hall. I'm in mortal fear Sir Henry's life will be snuffed out.
Why, what makes you think that?
I have information which leads me to believe that for centuries past, every Baskerville who's inherited the estates has met with a violent and sudden death.
But as I recall it, Sir Charles died from natural causes, heart failure.
Apparently. That was the verdict of the coroner, in which I, as Sir Charles' physician, concurred. But there was one point which I kept back from the police, from everybody.
Yes?
About 50 yards from where Sir Charles fell dead were footprints.
A man's or a woman's?
Mr. Holmes, they were the footprints of a gigantic hound.
A hound? Well, why didn't you report it?
Not a soul would have believed it. During the night it rained, and in the morning the marks were completely obliterated. But I saw them as clearly as I see you. And then, a few days ago, as one of the executors of the estate, I found this old document.
Legend of the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Let me read it to you, Mr. Holmes. It's quite short. I won't bore you, I promise.
Yes, please, go on.
In the time of the Great Rebellion, about 1650, Baskerville Manor was held by Hugo of that name, a profane and godless man. One Michaelmas, this Hugo stole down upon a neighboring farm and carried off the daughter of the house. He locked her in an upper chamber, and while Hugo and his friends were carousing, as was their nightly custom...
Such a cuddlesome little wench never existed before, I swear. Cheeks soft as velvet, and form so wondrously rounded. Tell us more.
What happened then?
Where was I? Form, you were saying. Oh, yes. No need to cry out, I told her. Hugo will not hurt you. With that, I whisked her up on my saddle, covered her with my cloak, and we were off like the wind.
You brought her here?
To the manor? Where is she?
Go fetch her, Hugo.
Easier said than done, eh, Hugo? How can he fetch her if she isn't here? Oh, she isn't, eh? Come on, I'll show you. I'll take a look. She's really in here? May we come in, my sweet? These drunken sots would give Hugo the... There is no girl. Gone! Gone! Out of my way! What ails him? Hugo! What to do, huh? Tim! Get in! Yes, Sir Hugo. What's wrong, sir? She's gone, the wench! Well, don't stand there gaping. Go bring my mare. What's wrong? I've never seen him in such a rage. Where's he gone? Let's follow him. Let's go, Roderick. Farewell. Come on, Matthew. Hold the stirrup, you blockhead. I'll give my soul to the devil for that wench. You hear how he pledged his soul to the devil for that wench? Well, may he find her and wed her. Then the devil will have his soul.
On and on they rode, until suddenly they came upon the body of the girl.
Dead.
Then, from just over a rise, they heard sounds so hideous that the blood froze in their veins, and looking up, they beheld... Before we could get at him, Sir Hugo was dead, his body literally torn to shreds. Such is the history of the hound that has cursed the Baskerville family ever since, many having been unhappy in their deaths that have been sudden, violent, and mysterious. Well, Mr. Holmes?
Interesting. Very interesting.
What do you think?
I don't know.
But Sir Henry's arriving from Canada tomorrow. Please understand my dilemma, my responsibility. I was Sir Charles' best friend. My duty is to protect that boy. If I should take him down there to Baskerville Hall and anything happened to him...
What I'd suggest, Dr. Mortimer, is that when Sir Henry arrives, you bring him here.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Holmes. You don't know what a load you've taken off my mind. Good night, Dr. Watson.
Good night, sir.
You've left your stick again.
Oh, thank you.
By the by, Dr. Mortimer, you have a dog.
I have no dog.
Then how do you account for these marks? Evidently the teeth marks of a dog.
I used to have a dog, a small spaniel, but it died. Good night.
Good night.
Well, Holmes, what do you make of it? Do you think there's anything in it?
Good heavens, you're not going to start scratching on that infernal thing, are you?
Dear old Watson.
Goodbye, Sir Henry. If you ever go back to Canada, be sure you sail with us.
Thanks. You've all been wonderful.
The very best of luck, sir.
And the same to you.
This way, Sir Henry.
Here you are, Sonny.
Thank you, sir.
And you.
Thank you, Sir Henry.
And you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
sir. Oh, Sir Henry. Oh, it's too bad it's all over. Just when you and Betsy Ann were really getting to know each other. Oh, but we are going to see one another in London, aren't we, Sir Henry?
Oh, I should love to. But I have to go down to the country, unfortunately.
To your ancestral estate. How exciting. Perhaps, Betsy Ann, if you're very good, Sir Henry will ask us to visit him.
Of course, yes.
We're staying at the Savoy. Don't forget.
I will.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Sir Henry,
Yes.
I'm Dr. Mortimer. Your uncle was my best friend.
How do you do? Thank you for coming to meet me.
Not at all, my dear boy. Did you have a pleasant trip?
Splendid, thank you.
I've taken rooms for you at the Northumberland Hotel, where I'm stopping.
Fine.
I assume you'll be staying in London for a few days.
Yes, I haven't seen it since I was a boy.
Thank you, sir. Northumberland Hotel. Sir Charles's death was a great personal loss to me. I was more than his doctor.
What's this?
What are those words?
Do you mind, Sir Henry? No, not at all. What do you make of it, Mr. Holmes? Why do you think that last word is printed in ink? Oh, that's simple enough. The words have been snipped from the London Times. That's evident from the typography. But the word moor is an unusual word. Your correspondent evidently couldn't find it in the newspaper. You'll admit, Dr. Mortimer, there's nothing supernatural about this. Supernatural? Tell me, Sir Henry, has anything else unusual happened to you today since your arrival in London? I can't think of anything. Unless you'd say that losing one of your boots is unusual. You lost one of your boots? Yes, and brand new ones, too. Never had them on. I put them outside the door to be cleaned, and when I went to fetch them, there was only one there.
Brand new boots, and you put them out to be cleaned?
They were tan ones, Dr. Watson. It prevents them from scratching to have them polished first. Now, will you please tell me what this is all about? Dr. Mortimer bringing me here to see you. This letter. It's about you, Sir Henry. Your inheritance in Baskerville Hall. And Dr. Mortimer thinks that it might not be safe for you to go down there. Safe? On account of a hound. A wild, supernatural monster that has cursed you Baskervilles for the last 2 or 3